Since I first played one of these from my buddy Dave up the road, I tried the Dodge and Blue one, and I was actually super impressed. Now, I'm not the largest John Mayer fan in the world. I wasn't the biggest PRS fan at the time either, but to me it was kind of undeniable that PRS were making a pretty decent guitar. When one came up used and Jake spotted it, Jake kind of needs a backup guitar anyway, because he's only got the one Strat, and so I was like, well, I could do some videos with that for sure. So grab this one, used.
This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses.
The context of other guitars and what's happening at this kind of price point is really significant when thinking about the PRS, and I'm going to talk about it in a few more videos most likely. But what I wanted to show you essentially was that to get a guitar under the weight £7 and 7 ounces seems to be something that Sir, Fender, other brands really are struggling with at the moment. And for some reason, PRS are absolutely knocking guitars out of the park in this particular realm. Now, weight might not be the most important factor on a guitar to you, but I think it is some way that we can kind of get some impression of how mature and dry the wood being used for these guitars actually is. And that's kind of the thing about the really old Fenders and the really old Gibsons, is that it was very mature wood. And I guess maturity, moisture content comes down, and hopefully with that weight. It's not to say they're not great guitars that are heavy, but what I'd be looking for in general are guitars that are a comfortable weight. I went through Peach Guitars, their website, and just looked at, like your most expensive Suhrs, your most expensive Fenders, and even a thin line telly, I found an Avery telly was £8 and 8 ounces. Why does any of that matter? Well, because, I just said why. But anyway, so that's kind of the context for these guitars. So PRS are making the Silver Sky. Now, the price of the Silver Sky is all over the map as well, so that's worth talking about. So I think PRS are pretty heavily discounted in the UK quite a lot of the time. So the Jennifer Aniston pink one was up for about $16.99 for a while. I think Peach have a couple of, maybe the Dodge and Blue up for $18.99 or something like that. They discount quite heavily. I think the listing price normally and street price is somewhere between $200-300 and $200-600 in the UK. I don't know what it is in America. Maybe around the similar sort of price range. So it's between an American vintage guitar like the Fender Avery range and the custom shop. So if we say like the Averys are around £1,800 normally, and the custom shop is about $3,500. The PRS sits kind of nicely within that and is often discounted to like the price of an American vintage reissue. And for that price, I'd say that the PRS deserves a look in, even if you despise John Mayer, is kind of my takeaway from having played a couple. And if you look at the weight on Peach guitars, the PRSs are on average coming in under £7 and 7 ounces, which is kind of, to me, that ideal weight range. Yeah, so that's kind of the positives with the PRS. The negatives, which I think are worth discussing as well, you get a gig bag, but I think it's a relatively, standard. You might expect to see that. I mean, it's not that far off from their actual SE range gig bags, which are perfectly fine and not totally dissimilar to a Suhr gig bag. But if I was paying $2,400 for a guitar, I'd be, I think, more happy with a hard case. Does it matter about how the guitar plays? Probably not. Do you necessarily need to use a hard case on your average gig? Probably not. If you're not gigging, do you want a hard case just lying around the house? Again, probably not. So there's probably some logic to it. I think we should talk about the neck shape, which is, I think, really, really kind of nice. I think it's changed a little bit through the years of the Silver Sky. This is from a 2021, I think, spec. So it's kind of pretty chunky up here. A bit slimmer down here, but I think a little bit chunkier than my K-line Strats. And yeah, of course, based on some 60s Strat of John Mayer's, I believe. Of course, the guitar plays fantastically well, as I've come to expect from PRS guitars. And lightweight, resonant, sounds like a Strat. Kind of looks different, but if you can get past some of those kind of biases, one of the things that people seem to worry about is with this vintage radius 7.25 that your bends are going to be kind of choking. But they're not. And crucially, this is one thing that sort of does bug me still, even about my K-lines. We've got a 22nd fret up here. So some of the things that I think you should, you know, and look, it's a really dark rosewood board. We've seen that rosewood boards, you know, are starting to get lighter and lighter. I've noticed that even on like the K-lines that I've got on a newer. Dark rosewood boards are desirable. You know, a lot of the PRS Silver Skies seem to come with those nowadays as well. I think the pickups sound great. I think if there's areas of criticism, I'd have most of them of kind of visual more than anything else. I think the plastics kind of give off slightly kind of Casio G-Shock vibes. In general, though, a fantastic guitar. And so I think the PRS Silver Sky should not be ignored if you're looking for an S-Type that is pretty reasonably priced for what you're getting, because I think you are really getting custom shop quality. Maybe not custom shop looks, but, you know, fantastic quality Strat. I'd put it above the average stuff for sure. So, yeah, I think if you can look past the PRS aspect, if you can look past the John Mayer aspect, in its own right, the Silver Sky does stand on its own, even if you're not a fan of John Mayer. Randy, I'm looking at you. So, yeah, there will be people in the comments that are super anti-John Mayer, potentially Jennifer, potentially Jessica's in the comments. It could be either of those two guys. It could be Taylor. She could be there too. But, you know, the John Mayer stuff aside, I still think that the Silver Sky is a fantastic bolt-on S-type guitar that if you play one, I think maybe you'll get it. Amazing feeling neck, 7.25 radius, which I absolutely love the feel of. If you are a PRS kind of no thanks kind of guy or John Mayer type of guy, let folks know in the comments what you'd grab instead. Of course, I've got K-Line Springfields out of every orifice, so you know that's kind of what I'd go for. The Fender average stuff, I think variable, but some of that stuff is probably really good. Fender Custom Shop Strats, again variable, but some of those are really, really, really good, but pricey. Other alternatives, leave them in the comments if you've got them. Oh, and I'm using the Helix Native here. I was using a Glassy Plexi 2024 for this particular video, just to kind of hear the kind of glassy elements of these pickups. I think they sound great. Yeah, just a nice resonant, lightweight guitar. It's about £7, 2 ounces, this particular one.